For Wall Street Media, this is Marley. I'm here with Doug, and we'll help you make money in the stock market with information you can't get anywhere else.
Hey, and we've got some even better than usual exclusive stuff,
we
right?
have a great interview.
Fantastic. Golf clap for Tyler. Got an interview with Holden Lewis from BB&T.
And he's great. He has some really great stocks to talk about coming from the conference.
The managing director at BB&T. BB&T's a super good, solid, common sense bank. And they grow. And they make a huge profit, right? I love them. They're Southern gentlemen, right? You're a Virginia girl.
That was the very first thing I thought when I saw him. I was like, your name is Holden. You're clearly from the South.
Southern
and he
gentleman.
has what we call at Virginia the Richmond comb over. It's the Southern hair.
Yeah. I mean, those guys, right, when I was down there, I've been out with them, and I know some of them, right? And nice, wonderful,
very nice.
Cream of the crop gentlemen. Smart, right?
Very smart. And he has two really nice stocks to talk about.
Ethical. And Tyler's got some awesome stuff from Holden. We've got a video with him in a second.
We do. Here it is. As we said, we have Holden Lewis, who's the managing director with BB&T Capital Markets, and he provides us with an outlook for the industrial manufacturing and distribution sector and discusses his favorite companies on this first day of the BB&T Manufacturing Materials Conference. Here it is.
For Wall Street Media, this is Tyler Horn. I'm here today with Holden Lewis. He's the managing director of BB&T Capital Markets. We're at the BB&T Capital Markets Manufacturing and Materials Conference. Holden, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Tyler.
Great. So, Holden, real quick, what companies do you cover? How do you break up the sector, and what do you look for in a company when you invest in it?
My area of focus is industrial manufacturing and distribution, and some of the big names that you might recognize, companies such as WW Grainger, Fastenal, Timken, but we cover 17 industrial companies, 15 of which are going to be presenting here today at our BB&T Manufacturing Materials Conference. And what we look for really are just good companies, and we look at that in terms of cash flow. We look at it in terms of profitable operations, leaders in their industry, and I think we're going to have a lot of companies here today that certainly define that.
Great. A lot of these companies here today they're a little off their 52-week highs. They're not at their 52-week lows by any means, but it is the Manufacturing Materials Conference, and I'm wondering how much of that is due to just general market conditions, how much of it is due to, say, the housing market, or where are these influences coming from?
Well, I'm happy to say, Tyler, that my companies don't have a lot of direct exposure to the housing market. However, and for that matter, demand is pretty good. The reaction of the stocks lately really is not does not jive with what we're seeing in the market. Industrial production is good. Durable goods orders are good. I think you're going to hear here today that most of my companies are going to say that business conditions over the past 12 to 15 months really haven't changed. They're still growing. I think that the reactions you're seeing in the stock are investors anticipating a downturn in the markets. And, we'll see what happens 3 to 6 months down the road. But, we look at how these stocks have traded. We look at the valuations that are in the space today, and we think it's pretty clear that investors are looking for economic conditions 6 to 9 months down the road, which are far worse than we think that they're going to be. So by and large, I think there are some compelling opportunities in the industrial space. And again, we'll hear some of those stories today.
Great. So who are we looking at today? For the individual investor, who would you recommend?
Well, there are a number of companies that we're going to be hearing from. Some of my favorites lately include MSC Industrial Direct, symbol is MSM. They're a distributor of industrial products. When you talk about names that have been well beaten up in the last few quarters, they certainly come to the forefront. They're one of the cheapest names that I have in my space, but great management team, been executing extremely well, and that's a name that we're very comfortable holding and buying here. Another one which we actually just raised our rating on only a few weeks ago is Barnes Group. A company which has been my worst performer from a stock price performance this year. Valuation today, and you consider the fact that a fair amount of their revenue comes from overseas. You consider that about 50% of their profits come from the aerospace segment. You're looking at a company that should be able to grow through any modest weakness in the U.S. economy should that occur. And with recent valuations, recent stock action, that's one that recently we stepped up to as being a compelling opportunity too. So that's two within our stable of companies that we would take a look at these levels.
Great. And what's your time horizon on these companies?
We typically have a 12-month time horizon. These are companies that have been around a lot longer than that, performed well for a lot longer than that. But we have a 12-month time horizon on that, and we think that the next 12 months should be better than the last 6 months have been from a stock price perspective.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot, Holden.
Right, no, thank you very much.
Super cool stuff, right?
Very
That's Tyler. He was suffering from Marleyitis last night, too, boy. He actually went home early.
Dogitis. It's not Marleyitis when you're giving it to people, because I'm better.
Wait until he sees you. Wait until Holden, if Holden catches Marleyitis. No, he's gonna really.
Let's hope not.
He'll be back real quick for another
cursing Wall
interview.
Street media and cursing me. Terrible.
Now, he liked MSC Industrial Direct, and their ticker's MSM, but they're not presenting at the conference at all.
And neither is Barnes.
And we don't have anything. And he also liked Barnes, their ticker's B, right? And they also aren't presenting. But we will be back. We do have 4 more that he likes that are in that sector.
We do, yes.
Right, and we'll have CEO videos for them. Let me take a look and see who they are.
We have it's Donaldson, Columbus McKinnon,
right,
Tronox, and I'm missing one more.
And let's
Tell
see
me
who
who
else.
it is.
I'm looking. NCI Building Systems.
NCI Building Systems. And the 2 interesting things about those stocks that he just talked about is they're both just kind of near their 52-week low. So you might want to hold off maybe a week or 2 and keep an eye on them and see if they head down a little bit, because we wouldn't want you to jump in and then lose some money on them.
Oh, we like Holden. And he's right. And you can see how smart he is, and
Absolutely.
he's an expert in this area, right? But what he says is that he thinks all of these companies are way undervalued at the moment, because he thinks investors are way too pessimistic, and they're looking at like the second half of this year.
Everyone is pessimistic about the
right,
market.
but they're far too pessimistic. 420 points yesterday, right? Bernanke is being the wizard of Wall Street, right? I mean, between using like different things like injecting liquidity and just for this banks, and, right? Fantastic. And we agree with Holden, right? And that it is too pessimistic for the second half of the year, and that now might be a good time to look at them all before they take that pop. Listen to the whole webcast. We have Holden's whole conference is available.
Absolutely. You can find it at wsw.com/webcast/BBT12.
Fantastic. We'll be back with 4 more CEOs from there today.
Yes. We're here every day at Wall Street Media. You can find us at WSMCO.com. Thanks for joining us.